know what it is. Back for another episode of the Rap or Cap podcast. I'm your host, Mike, the Young OG. The Young OG. Oh, man, I'm excited to talk about something today, man. I'm super excited to talk about it. I've had this conversation weeks ago, I would say, and it really sparked some stuff in some people. So, without further ado, I really want to get into this. I don't want to really waste any time, but I got a couple announcements for y'all. Some of these were asked for. Others, I decided to give it to you myself. So, the first one that I want to really address for as far as announcements go is, men, get a skincare routine that works. And I'm not calling nobody out, but get a skincare routine that works. Like if y'all need tips, if y'all need anything, like let me know. Like I've been on a skincare routine since I was in the third grade. No lie, my mom was not playing the acne. So, um, yeah, definitely men, like take care of your face. Like you washing your face with just soap isn't gonna do the trick. Like you need to exfoliate. You might need a scrub. You definitely need like a cleanser, a wash. So men, holla at me if you need some tips. If not, you know what I'm saying? Cool. If you don't have one, you need to go get one. My second one is y'all, I love y'all, but stop trying to connect the dots. All right, we're 3 podcast episodes in, and you're not gonna really get the content, and you're not really gonna understand what I'm talking about if you're too busy trying to figure out who I'm talking about, if I'm making a reference to this person or that person. Like, stop trying to connect the dots, y'all. Like, if you was there during the time, you know. Like, if you know, you know. But if you don't, like, just leave it alone. Like, questions about who I'm talking about or which ex was this, like, that's inappropriate, And for their honor and for their sake, I didn't disclose names, and I'm not going to. So, no hard feelings to anybody who asked or whatever, but I just want to keep it in context so that we're not really focusing on the stories and more so like the content. And this one I have to make because my mom insists on me telling you guys this, but I believe it was the last episode, and I said, your parents beat you and all this stuff. My mom wants you guys to know she did beat me. I did get whooped when I was little, but she didn't, just be out here whooping me, beating me for no reason and going crazy. I didn't get whooped a lot, but I got whooped enough, if that makes any sense. And the last announcement that I really want to make is, don't confuse my general references with my view on topics. So I might, reference like something as an example. I don't want to sneak and tell y'all what the next episode is. It's already recorded as well. Um, so I don't want to sneak and tell y'all, but just know, like, if I use something as an example, if I reference something, that's not necessarily how I feel about the topic. If I'm bringing it in, I can elaborate more if I need to. Y'all just got to let me know in the comments or text me if you have my number. But don't mistake it for that. And also, I don't record these episodes in order. So one day I might be feeling like, oh, okay, cool, this, and this, or I might have a topic and I talk about it and might stash it in a cut. Like, I'm not just going down the list like, okay, I'm a record and then I'm gonna drop it. Like, that's not how this works. Some of these are probably old. Some of these might be new. It just depends on how I feel like it flows together. And right now we're on a good pace for and a good flow for what we're talking about in the podcast. So I'm just trying to flow. Don't think I'm ignorant or choosing to be ignorant to what's going on in the world. I promise you I'm not. I'm going to get out of, just talking about relationships and stuff. I want to talk about things that affect people's lives and things that people talk about in barbershops. People talk about family wise, like just topics that are healthy to discuss and that provoke thought. Like, I don't want you guys to think that this is a relationship podcast or a sports podcast. Like I said in the beginning, we're going to tackle everything, and I want to talk about all that. I want to talk about black empowerment. I want to talk about racism, voting, everything. Like, we just won't get into the celebrity drama and the entanglements and the open marriages. Like, I don't want to tackle that. I only talk about what I'm qualified to talk about, and I'm not qualified to talk about anything with marriage. So you'll never hear me speak on marriage. You'll never hear me speak on kids, because personally, I can't give you advice on that, and I can't speak on it. I can just tell you how I was raised and how my parents do their marriage, and that's not for everything. So everybody, I should say. And this is just my opinion and just my truth. Um, you may see it as, oh, I don't agree 100%. That's fine. Like, we could talk about it. I'll bring whoever wants to come on the show to talk about whatever topic they want to specifically talk about, or if they just want to be a guest and we do a format for like guests, that's perfectly fine. I just want to clear the air and just make sure everybody knows that, so that when you're listening to the podcast, it's not necessarily you're looking to find things that you can nitpick or looking to find an argument in what I'm saying, because I'm literally just talking to y'all. And I feel like a lot of things that I say are educational. I'm just trying to put y'all on game, or at least provoke thought in you, or provoke something in you to want to learn more, to do more, anything. I just want to inspire people. Kobe passing has really pushed this into the forefront, and I feel like this is something that really, for one, it's very important to me, and for two, I feel like this is more so my calling. What I'm more in my lane when I'm doing stuff like this. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox, and we're gonna dive right into it. The topic of the day is stop trying to make it right with the wrong person. And I got a shout out to the CEO of Naughty by Nature, Delaney. Y'all go rock with her. I'll drop her information at the end of the podcast, but she has great natural hair products. I use the beard products. They're amazing. Shout out to her. She sent me some free samples and everything. She's a great business leader, great CEO, all that. So, like I said, the episode is called Stop Trying to Make It Right with the Wrong Person. And this really sparked conversation, because I saw a post that said, y'all ever notice the relationship is at stake only when the female is unhappy? Y'all not ready for that talk, though. And a female posted it, and it kind of got me thinking. So, of course, me being me, I sent it in my group chats. I sent it to my female friends and all that. I'm just like, how we feeling? Like, talk to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just need to know if that's rap or cap. Like, y'all let me know. Like, I'm not even going to speak on that necessarily, but I'm going to tell y'all the man side of it. And I might even do a part 2 of this and bring a female on, and let her explain the female side of it, and, get two minds to kind of collab, you know what I'm saying? And come to a resolution, or come to some type of conclusion at some point. But as far as men go, men often don't have a say so. So for me, this has some truth in it. I don't think it's 100% true, but I think it has some truth in it. And a man's capacity and his tolerance for a lot of things is higher. So like females, females can't really hang, like their friendships may last forever, but like you don't really see friend groups like girlfriends, like where they're all really, really tight and they last forever. And even in girlfriends, like they had like they had periods when they weren't really talking to each other, or Tony and Joan was beefing, or Lynn and Joan was beefing, like different stuff like that. Like females have a little bit more drama in their relationships. Dudes, like even like when you go on double dates, like you notice the dudes, like all you gotta do is bring up football or basketball and we're lit. Like that's it. Like you don't have to do all the small talk. Like we literally just be like sports. Oh bro, you be hooping? Oh word, you could dunk? Word. What position you play? Okay, cool. All right, did you see that Raiders game? Like stuff like that. Like men can bond over the smallest things. Women are a little bit more complicated because they're a little bit more emotional. So and most men are nesters. So really, like you're not gonna really find a man that's kind of like I'm gone, like, or bouncing from here to here. Like If he is, it's deeper issues. But even then, men are still nesters. So we could be totally checked out of the relationship, or we could be doing something else. But we're not going anywhere because this is our comfort. And at the end of the day, we're not going to uproot that. And a lot of men, regardless of, what I'm saying, what we're supposed to be the leaders, we're supposed to take charge. A lot of men let women take charge in the relationship because they're like, I'm on whatever you want, baby, which is asinine, by the way. I'll have another podcast about that because that's ridiculous. But a lot of men let women take the lead. They're like, whatever you want to do, like, because at the same time, I can understand it because men, the climate now is men who apply pressure, as females would say. Either the females feel rushed, or the females like, that's not really what I want. And like, a lot of times things have been starting off as, and I can relate to this myself, as like, oh, we're not nothing serious, like we just take it and seeing where it goes, which is also asinine if you are my age, 24 and up. It's asinine. It's time to find a wife. I may be a hypocrite in that way, but we're not gonna talk about that today. So yeah, and it's stereotypical that men cheat to get out of relationships. This is not necessarily true. This is the side that you all see more than you see the female side. Females, I've had this conversation before. Females think they're more slick. They think men just cheat dumbly. I think men don't care, but yeah, that's another topic for another day too, as well. And men are victimized when they leave relationships, so that's why you don't really see a man leaving a woman. Like eh, like you don't really see that. Like you don't see men leaving the relationships. Like you might see them cheat and leave with the other woman, but you don't really see men leave relationships in general. The woman is normally the one who breaks up with the man, if we're gonna be honest. That's not stereotypical. That's facts. And I'd be happy to prove that. I'll take some surveys. I'll do some research. Whatever y'all want to do, that can be a topic for whoever wants to come on or whatever. Or if y'all just want to holler about it in the comments. And the men being victimized part is, it's just the cons of being the head. Like as men, we're heads. We're leaders of the household, of the relationship. So that's just the cons of being a head. Black women and women in general are victimized every single day, but black men are victimized by the women in their life once they decide to leave, because men don't often leave, and because the male is such an important role, it kind of uproots the woman in some type of way, which is, it's a really deep conversation that I'm not prepared to go into right now. But regardless, men can be seen as the victims, and oftentimes are the victims when it comes to when they want to leave. And I feel like women don't do it on purpose, but men definitely victimize women for leaving. I'm not gonna defend either one. Like it's like, oh, men are this and women do this, or women do this and men do this. Like no, like there's both faults on each side, and I'm just addressing both. So y'all know I'm not over here, what I'm saying, being biased. I don't want no comments talking about, hey, well, black women. Like I know I'm a black man in America. My mom is black. All my family is black. Like I know all about it. Trust me. Like y'all don't have to educate me on that. So, like the say so that men have in a relationship is like, I really had to sit here and think about it, because I was talking to my really good friend, and she's like, like when my dude, like he picks where to eat. He may be like, determines if like I'm a drive, he'll drive. Like sometimes I'll offer, or most of the time he drives. And she was like, maybe like picking what we watch on TV or on Netflix. She was like, most of the time I watch the same thing, so like I let him choose, like if he's over and we just want to watch a movie or something. And she was like, sometimes like, intimacy, like when or when not, like we're intimate, like whether that means like with your body, or just like with talking, or with the things we do. And it got me thinking. I was like, why does it seem like that list is so short? And she was like, I don't know. I feel like, the man typically always just does what the woman wants, so the woman doesn't necessarily have to focus on what the man necessarily wants or needs, because men are so quote unquote strong, and they're just like, oh, I don't need nothing. Like, oh, I just want a meal. Oh, I just want this. I want that. Like, they're like, people and women perceive men to be so simple, but really we're very detailed, and we're very what's the word for it? I would say we're very I don't want to say complicated, but that's the kind of the word I lean to. I would say complex. We're very complex. So yeah, I feel like I want a female on here again, just to kind of like go off of that. And yeah, I don't think relationships should be gender rolled. So, whoever's good with the finances, they should lead the finances. But that doesn't mean the other person shouldn't know how to do finances. Like, y'all both can be good, but whoever flows better with it, that's who I think should do it. And based on personality, based on comfort, based on naturally who's better, like I said, free will, say so, and just the natural flow of things, that's how relationships should be. So now I want to flow into my vein, into my lane for, this podcast. So stop trying to make it right with the wrong person. So, first of all, relationships in general should be natural. If you're forcing anything in a relationship, let it go. Let it go. I've learned that the most in being in college for 5 years, and just seeing how some relationships evolved, some relationships regressed, some relationships dissipated. Um, and as human beings, we're inclined emotionally to chase after things that mean something to us that we may feel like we've lost or that we're losing. So it's natural for to kind of send a text like, "Hey, I haven't talked to you and such and such and such." But you know, as you get older, you have to realize that everything happens in seasons, and if you're not ready for the season to come, then you'll still be stuck in that same season, and you'll be living in the past for the rest of your future. So your future will continue to be altered and pushed back because you're continuing to live in the past. So you have to understand that things happen in cycles, things happen in seasons, and everything is based off of free will. So God doesn't force us to do anything, so we shouldn't force anyone else to do anything. If someone doesn't want to be in your life, it's not up to you to force it. If someone doesn't want to talk to you, it's not up to you to force it. You have to let everything come naturally and let everything flow. Again, you also have to know the difference between, letting it be what it is, and if it's honestly just a mistake and you need to put a little fight in for the relationship, which is natural. Everyone should do that. You shouldn't ever have a period where like no fight goes into the relationship, to like communicate a little bit more, to just go the extra mile to kind of push the relationship and deeper the intimacy that you have with someone. So and that pushes me to my next one. Both voices are equal. So don't ever think that when you're in a relationship, your voice weighs more, your opinion weighs more than the other person, because you're fooling yourself. It doesn't. And I don't mean that in a rude way. It just doesn't. Like, a lot of people grow up and think that their opinion is the only opinion that matters, and it's not. Like, my opinion doesn't matter. Like, y'all opinion means a lot to me on what I'm talking about on the podcast. So I mean, if y'all think I'm wrong, if y'all think I'm off, like, I'm not going to argue you in a text or in comments or anything about how I view something. I would love to talk about it. If you would like to come on, I would love to have you on. But it's not an argument. I just feel how I feel, and I just say what I say. And if I'm off, educate me. If I'm right, cool. Like, whatever, like, keep it pushing. Or if just anything, like, it's just all about communication and just about making sure that everybody has a voice to be heard, because this podcast is a platform for a voice to be heard. So going into your voice being heard, you need to understand that your role as a person, how do I say this? You need to understand your role as a person, first off. So, you just thinking that, you're in someone's life to do whatever, or you can say whatever or do whatever just because that's what you've done in the past, it's not going to work. You have to understand who you are in someone's life. What role do you play? Like the same thing on the team. You might be the leading scorer on the Knicks, but you go to Golden State and you're the fourth option. It's not a knock. It's not to say you're not good. It's just your role. Like, they know you can score. That's why they brought you in. But you need to understand that you being the leading scorer on that team is probably not going to be the best outcome if they have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson as their 1 and 2. Two of the best shooters, if not the best, two best shooters in NBA history, mind you. So, and they have 3 championships on their belt and 5 finals appearances. So, why would you come from the Knicks, who stink, and be the number 1 option? That's just a little reference. But you have to know how to come together and reel each other in. Like, this is not just something that you just come together and do. And the problem is people want things to work with seasoned people. So I don't know what I want to use as an example yet. Time is ticking. Okay, so a lot of times in this generation compared to others, high school sweethearts are dwindling out. So most of the time you're not marrying your high school sweetheart. Shout out to my brother. He knows who he is. Him and his lady, high school sweethearts. They definitely will be getting married. I can't wait to see that happen. But that's really the only people that I kind of know that are high school sweethearts and that are married and or going to get married or still married. So the problem is people just want things to work with seasonal people. You have to understand that when you get in relationships with people, whether it's you guys are dating or whether it's you guys are friends, that you shouldn't be so quick to say forever with a person. It's good to be optimistic. It's good to be, kind of speaking what you want into existence, but also having an understanding that, look, we need to go off of the right now and we need to plan for a future. We can plan. We're just not going to, put all our eggs in one basket. And I don't mean eggs in one basket as in, okay, well, I don't know if you're going to work, so I'm going to go over here and, keep Shorty in the cut, just in case. Or I'm going to go over here and I'm going to talk to you, but, I still got feelings for that dude, so, I'm going to keep him around as my best friend. Like, no, all that is toxic. What I'm saying is you need to understand that your heart has flaws in it as well. So even when people say, oh, what does your heart say? Your heart, you can't trust your heart's desires because your heart might want something that's good for you that your mind is telling you logically is not good for you. And your mind might be telling you something that, your heart is like, okay, nah, that's just your mind. You're overthinking. But the mind and the heart don't work together. So they'll always be at odds. It's just a matter of which one you listen to. And it's just the same thing as the Holy Spirit and the devil. Which one is going to put you in the place for you to best succeed? And it's never going to be the devil. And I can't say, oh, the heart is the devil. I can't say the mind is the devil. You just have to distinguish which voice that you're hearing. If that makes any sense. So the moment that you planned a forever with someone who is seasonal, misery will be in every season. because you're so stuck on that one person that you can't let them go. And been there, done that, but you have to realize, and a lot of men and a lot of females do this as well. The question that I just despise nowadays is, do you think she's the one? I'm 24. I'm pretty sure I've had the one at least 4 times. At least 4 times. I've been in, 5 serious relationships. I'm pretty sure I had the one 4 of the 5 times. According to me. Like, but they didn't work out. And it's not like, oh, wow, like, how could this happen? It's just literally life. Like, they were in my life for a season to show me things about myself that I needed to work on. And they were in my life to show me how to be a better version of myself for the next person I'm in a relationship with. It's no beef. You just have to understand that people aren't going to be in your life forever, and just because you love someone doesn't mean that it's going to work forever, and just because you want it to work forever doesn't mean it's going to. So it's not that it's always you either. Like, you have to understand, like, it could be them, it could be y'all situation, it could be timing. Like, you can have the right person, but the timing is terrible. And that's why a lot of people, and shout out to my friend, she told me this and I didn't believe it, but you can meet your soulmate and it'd be terrible timing and you guys not work. And you're just like, you're sitting there, you're like, wow, but like, and a lot of people's view on that is, we can make it work. Like, you can make it work. Like, no, you can't. If it's not God's timing, it's not gonna come to fruition. Or you're gonna be miserable through every season trying to make that one thing work, because that one thing isn't supposed to fit into the seasons that you're supposed to go through. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you meet your soulmate and you don't even know that they're your soulmate until you guys establish a deeper relationship. Like, that's with friends as well. Like, your friend could be your soulmate. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your wife becomes your soulmate when you marry her. Like, but like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have, your soulmate could really be like someone you meet, like, and you guys are just intertwined. Like, you guys understand each other. Like, there's just a different type of bond. That's a different conversation for a different day as well. But it's more so connecting with someone that takes more. Connecting with someone takes more than, just actions. And females, I really don't want to bash y'all, and I really don't want to get on y'all, but I gotta get on y'all a little bit. Females love to say, this is their rant on Twitter. Okay, they're like, I'm such a good girlfriend. Like, I don't understand why he didn't do this. Like, I did this. I cooked. I cleaned. I did his laundry. I helped him with his homework. I drove him this place, that place. I bought him this. Like, whenever you hear that from a female, it's a direct indication that she did too much. Yeah, you did too much. The thing that you have to learn about people in general is, yes, everyone should have a heart to help someone. Or if it's people that you love, I don't know how y'all do y'all's, but if I got it, you got it. If you're not eating, you can have half of mine. Like, it is what it is. Like, that's just the loyalty and the love that I have for the people in my life. Now, you have to put that into perspective, though. You have to understand that doing too much for someone puts them in a what's the word for it? Puts them at a standstill. Puts them at a makes them stagnant, I should say, and a stalemate. I think that's the word. So you have to understand that you can't just be out here doing stuff for men, especially because he's the head. Like, and when you condition someone to a certain style of living, they get complacent because they're like, oh, I'm not gonna worry about it because my girl does it. It's natural for a human to get comfortable and complacent when that's their norm. So you have to understand you can't do too much. Like, and that's not for just females, that's for men too. Like, you can't just do too much. You're mad that she doesn't want to do her makeup and she doesn't want to go out anywhere, and she's always dressed in sweatpants now. Like, she used to get dressed nice and do her makeup and have her hair all nice, baby edges all fleeked, eyebrows all nice, like go and get her eyebrows, like go and get her eyelashes done, all that, like. And now, like, you've conditioned her to the point where it's like, okay, like, we're not going nowhere, like, it don't matter, you ain't got to get dressed up, like, or it's just me, like. And now you mad because she's sitting there looking like, looking like Freddie Jackson, and you know what I'm saying, you wanted Janet Jackson, like, you know what I'm saying, like Smokey said. So you just have to realize that whatever you condition a person to is what they're going to get used to. And it's not always on the dude, it's not always on the girl. Like, you have to realize and take a step back in the mirror. And I want to talk about a podcast that definitely is going to be in the works sometime soon. It's just a year process of getting over someone. And I think that might be a series, actually. I don't know yet, but moving on. You just have to understand that you did too much, and the relationship ending is not because you did too much, but it played a factor in that because you are responsible for what you put in the relationship, and that's what you were putting in the relationship. And granted, it's on the other person to have enough strength and enough willpower to be like, okay, like, I'm a little bit too complacent, like, I need to get on my homework, like, or I need to start, I need to get a job. Like, this is unacceptable. Like, it's on you as well. As much as you do for that person, it's on you to motivate them and make sure that they know, I'm doing this because I love you and I want you. I'm trying to help you get out of whatever slump you're in. If this is not working, I need to change my method. Or if this is not helping you need to tell me so I can use other methods, or so that we can find out a method that helps you the best. Because, just buying stuff for people and doing stuff for people when they're down and when they're low, when they are lacking, it helps, but it can be detrimental to them because they may never recover, because they may from now on be expecting every female or every guy to just be like, be out there and lay it and spread the table for them, like set the table for them, like just think everything is supposed to be all laid out for them, and life doesn't work that way. You have to put some type of work in. And it's not necessarily that you loved wrong. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very passionate, and I know a lot of people are like that. And it's not the fact that, oh, hey, you were loving them wrong. It's more so on the fact that you just have to learn how to find a balance. You didn't understand what that person needed in love. You just communicated to how you knew how to love. And that goes into understanding someone's love languages. So if you know their love languages is acts of service, then you speak to them in acts of service. If you know that it's gifts, you speak to them in gifts, words of affirmation, and so on and so on. There's only 5 love languages, people. Stop, just to let you know. Words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, acts of service, and quality time. Like, stop saying food is my love language. It's funny, but you know what I'm saying? We get it, but those are all like dialects, like, of the different love languages. We'll talk about that in another podcast as well. I got so many topics to talk about, but moving on. But it's more so you didn't understand how it was that they needed to be loved. And it's maybe not up for you to know how they need to be loved because you might not have the capacity for it. And there's no greater heartbreak than to know that you're with somebody that you genuinely don't know how to love. Because it's like, I want to be with you, but I can't give you what you need. And that's more serious than, wow, like, we just don't work. Like, knowing you don't know how to love someone, not even because you're incapable, but just because you guys can't figure it out, or they may not even know, and it's just not working with the way you know how to love and the way that your primary language is and how fluent you are in other love languages. Like, it just might not work, and that's gut-wrenching. It's heartbreaking. And sometimes things just don't work out, and it's for the better for both people, because the longer that you try and force something to work out, the more detrimental it is to both of you. It's more so like, dang, like, Why won't this work? Like, this has to work. Like, I put in 5 years of my life into this. Yeah, and in those 5 years, you probably learn more than you will with that person if y'all lasted 20 years. Like, you have to understand that God's timing is everything, and that nothing is a mistake that happens in life. So you could be in a relationship from 22 to 27, and you're like, dang, I'm devastated. Like, I don't know how, this is all I know. But at 28, you meet someone, and in 3 months, you're in love with them. And in a year, you guys are engaged and about to get married. Because of the type of love connection that you guys have, and you guys both understand each other. Things happen for a reason. You just have to understand and realize, like, when the signs are there, when God is speaking, like, this ain't it. Like, you have to accept that and not try to be God and change fate. Like, that's not gonna happen. Our stories are already written. Like, regardless of how we try to change it, our stories are written. We only change it whenever we try to, you know, sabotage and play God. And even then, God knows. He's like, I knew he was gonna do this, so I'm gonna just let you do it. And then at the end, you'll see. Like, that's how God works. He's like, okay, like, this is how your life was supposed to go, but this is how it's gonna go because I know you, because I created you. You know. So we got to stop focusing on time. Like, we got to stop wasting our time trying to make it work. Like, time is something you can't get back. So the thing is, when you're spending this time with people and it doesn't work, don't look at it like I wasted my time. Because if you love that person, if you felt like that was somebody you could marry, you didn't miss. You didn't miss in terms of, oh, like, I wasted 5 years chasing something that wasn't there. Like, no, people evolve, people change, people's true color show, trauma reveals itself. All sorts of things happen in relationships as time goes on. And you don't really, I always say this, you don't know a person until it's been more than a year. The year, like the first year of dating, if you never knew the person and y'all just began talking immediately, like, y'all are still getting to know each other. That's not serious. It's serious in maybe how you feel, but it's not serious in terms of just how do I say it? It's not serious in the fact of you guys aren't ready for that next step. You guys are just getting to know each other at 1 year. That's why when you go to the doctor's office, and all of you should be doing this if you are sexually active. When you go get checked for whatever, like gynecologist, or if you're just doing a regular checkup, like, and your doctor asks you about sex, he always asks, "Are you in a serious relationship?" And it's like, "Yes, I am." And he was like, "How long have you been in a relationship?" And he's like, "Oh, well, been in a relationship 9 months, so it's not a serious relationship." And the doctors, even people like that, they consider a serious relationship to be a year or more. Otherwise, you guys can break up at any time, and statistics show that. So, like I said, we can't just focus on time and wasting time and all that. Like, everything that happens in our life happens for a reason, and just because you want something to work doesn't mean it's going to work. And just because it didn't work doesn't mean you wasted your time. It just literally means that that experience was for that season. So even though that season that you're in, like, all the stuff that you were going through, or all the stuff that happened, it might not be for you to reference during that season. It's something that you need in your toolbox, though. Otherwise, you wouldn't have went through it. It's something for you to understand and have a deeper and greater revelation of. So in the future, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, oh, I remember when I went through this, or I remember this and this and this, and it helps you to kind of reference and give light and clarity for that situation. You know what I'm saying? So also, we have to get out of the habit of, when we're in a relationship trying to make it work, stop trying to necessarily make it work. Explore your partner, because The point of a relationship is to get to know someone better and to connect on a deeper level. And that determines whether or not you want to be with a person. It doesn't matter how much sex you can get, how many gifts you can give, all that. Like it holds no weight in the end. I can get a gift from my mom. You can get sex on the street. Like, people pass it out like candy. Like, I ain't even trying to be funny, like, call no names or nothing, but it's serious. And, you know, you have to explore what we have to realize is that in relationships, we're practicing marriage. So every time we practice just breaking up with someone just because we don't like how things took a turn, and I'm not going to specify because everyone has deal breakers. And cheating could be a deal breaker for one, lying could be a deal breaker for other people. It depends on the trauma that they've been through. But, you know, every time something goes bad, like, oh my God, you didn't call me when you said you were going to call me. I'm done. Like, every time something that is inconveniencing you happens and you want to run the breakup, you're practicing divorce, essentially. That's what you're practicing. You're practicing how to divorce people when things don't go your way and you break up with people. So you have to explore people. Like, some people are the way they are because that's how they were raised or the trauma they go through. You have to understand and explore people, and that takes work. Like, it's just more than the 21 questions game. It's more than, you know, late night talks in the car. It's literally through experiences and talking with through people and like, why do you feel this way? Like, just having regular conversation, like exploring different facets of people. Like, you can't just expect to know someone off of, okay, like when things go bad, like we gonna see how she really act. Like, there's some truth in that, but there's also truth in why is she acting like that, and why didn't you know that about her in advance? Why aren't you exploring her? Why didn't you see that provoking him leads to anger? Like, why didn't you see that he disconnects when this and this happens? Like, you had to wait until an argument, and then you're like, you're always shutting down on me. We have to explore our partners and understand every facet of them. And it takes work, and it takes attention to detail. It takes you being methodical to realize. And, you know, before you guys are out here, you know, before I'm gonna stop saying y'all, but before we out here and we just want to, you know, pop it open, like, woo, like, it's, oh my God, whether y'all have 3-month rules or when it happens, we gotta stop just being out here like being porn stars. And that's the only way I really know how to put it. Like, stop being out here and we're so quick to, you know what I'm saying, just have sex. Like, you guys don't know anything about the person. And I'm not gonna sit here and be a hypocrite because I've done it. But at the same time, I've learned from it. There's no point in bringing that into the equation if you're not on a journey to explore that person. That's a soul tie. And if you and that person don't work, you have to break that soul tie. So you have to understand that this journey that we go on with people and relationships is more than just sex. It's more than just gifts. It's more than just acts. It's an exploration of someone's world. That's why when people say this this hurt my feelings, this made me feel this way, this makes me feel this way, you don't get to choose whether or not you hurt them or not. That's their world. You provide clarity to them and you apologize. There should be no buts in your apology. Buts in apology and indirect apologies are manipulation. Yeah. Because you're not directly addressing it, and you're going to use whatever you can to kind of, you know, get your way out the situation and kind of persuade that person to be like, you know, like, whatever, like, and it's disrespectful. And I'll do a podcast on that too, because I'd love to elaborate on that apology statement. But we have to realize that, and the physical is gonna fade away. So I always think, okay, so tomorrow if she got into an accident and it wrecked her whole face, wrecked her body, and all I had was her personality, would I be happy the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, you're in a relationship for the wrong reasons. And you have to get to a certain level when you get to that point of asking yourself that. But you have to also realize that looks fade, and what you think looks great could look totally different after a kid, after 5 years of marriage, after 2 years of a relationship. You know what I'm saying? After we've developed and genetics kick in. Those are things you have to take into account. And when you just fall in love with the physical, you need to fall in love with the spiritual, what's inside and what you're connecting to. Because otherwise, doing so just leads to lust. You're in lust. And it's more of a Greek love than it is an agape love, which is unconditional love. I think it's Aries love. I think that's what it's called. Um, Gonna check that out. Let y'all know next one of these times if I'm right. But yeah, you have to differentiate with what you're being connected to and what you're in love with and what you're in lust with, because whatever you're in lust with won't last. They're just small characteristics. Like, they don't mean much because you're in lust with them. If you're in love with them, then they mean something. But lust, man, I lust over clothes all the time. I don't go after new phones. I don't go after the new game systems. I haven't played games in years. And that's not no knock on anybody, but I don't care about I don't care about cars as much. My car's fine. I'm big on I love shoes, I love clothes, I love jewelry, stuff like that. Like, I like that. That's my twist. That's the things I'm in lust with. But at the end of the day, those things fade away and can change, especially with fads and trends. So you just have to know what you're in love with versus what you're in lust with. So whenever you are in whenever you are focused on the physical, ugly things come out at the worst time because you've created that soul tie with that thing in them, and you're just like, wow, like, you would wait until this moment to say this, or I would see this side of you, like, I can't believe this and this. Like, that's who they've been the whole time, or who they had the potential to be the whole time. You didn't do your research. That's the problem with us. We don't want to do the research. We are the microwave generation. We just go on Google and like, all right, we don't check references, none of that. You didn't check your references. And I don't mean go to their ex. Like, you didn't check their references. You didn't ask them. You didn't check with them. You didn't search them. You didn't explore them. That's the problem. And you should know when it is time to depart from someone. There should be such a strong connection in your relationship with someone that when there's nothing left to give to that person, and when there's nothing left for them to give to you. That we often wait until things blow up to realize that, until afterwards, until we get to reflect. But if you do your research and you explore the person, you know what they're capable of doing. You know their potential. That's the only way you know, is if you explore someone. And you need to get, how do I say this? When you explore someone, when you're in the process of exploring someone, you can explore them, and instead of, trying to make it work, you can look at their potential and you can find what they're able to give you and make a decision based off of that, and say, and it's not even like, I searched you and you ain't got what I need, so I'm out. Like, nothing like that. It's healthy conversation to just be like, I'm very uneasy if you're able to give me what I need, because you communicate like this, and you don't understand this because you've never really been through it, and you're not interested in it, and this is the way that I need. Like, it can be a healthy convo and the relationships can um end peacefully, but we wait until things are so terrible, and then we say, well, you just need to love me the way I need to be loved, and you're selfish, like all you care about is yourself. Like, it's toxic. Just search the person that you're with, and you can see, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't indulge 100. Maybe I shouldn't indulge all the way in this, because I can see that down there is going to be a problem for me, and that's a deal breaker, and I'm not willing to go through that. You can save yourself. That's how you save time, is you explore people. That's how you save time, and you don't waste your time. And you can consciously be able to say, I have a gist of them and I choose to deal with it, when you explore someone and you see what's coming ahead. Like, when you're exploring people, things don't hit you like out the blue, in the terms of, I'll put it into a boxing ring. When you're in a boxing ring, you get blindsided by things, like by the jab. Jab will set you up and blindside you, or somebody be playing rope-a-dope and you'll get blindsided by an uppercut or by a right hook. Like, that's because you didn't do your homework. Or it's because, you're not on your game. You need to, do your due diligence. Like, that's with being in a relationship with someone or just being friends with someone. You need to do your due diligence. Therefore, when things happen, you may be surprised on how they reacted or their behavior, but you're not surprised on what it was that surfaced, because you've done your homework, you've done your research. And friends appreciate that, because you give them more leeway and you give them a chance to be like, okay, like, yeah, this is my imperfect spot. And it's like, you're not in the like, oh my God, like, this is unacceptable. Like, you're able to understand it and choose whether or not you're going to deal with it or not. That's only fair. And we just have to stop being focused on why it didn't work and stop staying for the wrong reasons. Time is not a reason for you to stay. People start over every day. Every single day. It's not an excuse. It can be done. It has been done for years, for generations, for centuries. You can start over. It's never too late to start over. Understand that. Like, time isn't an excuse anymore for you to be like, well, I just don't want to leave because this is what I'm used to. Whoop de whoop de whoop. Like, nah. Like, understand that, yeah, this was a big part of my life and this hurts. And I can't believe this didn't work. But guess what? I can't stay where I'm at. My future, the people's lives that I'm supposed to touch, can't wait until I'm out of this phase of not letting go what was never meant to be. You gotta understand that. It gets healthy and it gets better, and you understand people more whenever you explore them, and whenever you stop making everything about time, about wasting time. Don't waste your time and explore people. Stop getting in so much of the physical and let's go on a date, let's do this. How about y'all, like, dude, we should do more dates. Like, hey, let's go by the water and sit there and talk. Let's go, I don't know, let's go on a picnic. Like, intimate things that cause you to focus on more than just what you're eating. Bowling, arcade, stuff like that. You focus more, or a movie. Like, do things that provoke thought and that provoke you to be intimate with people. And for a lot of reasons, people don't want to stop relationships because they're scared of being the bad guy. You're gonna be the bad guy regardless because you knew you weren't in it all the way, or you weren't feeling it anymore, and you still chose to stay. That makes you the bad guy. It also makes you the bad guy if you want to leave. You're gonna be the bad guy regardless. Nobody, like, the bad guy is not really the bad guy. Like, stop being focused on what you're being labeled as or what the narrative is. Your truth is your truth. And, like, my dad gets on to me, or he jokes with me, I should say. And he was like, everybody's saying, like, your truth and my truth, like, their truth. He was like, there's only one truth. And I'm like, yeah, Pop, but you have to say your truth, their truth, whenever you're talking about a situation, because it's like, okay, that was true to them and what they went through, and it's true to me what I went through and all that and stuff like that. But being the bad guy, like, stop focusing on being the bad guy. Like, females and males know that suffering is not a superpower. It's not cool for you to be like, oh yeah, well, I went through this and this and I was able to do this and this, so blah blah blah. Like, you don't get an award for suffering. The only person that has ever been rewarded in history for suffering is Jesus. And really, we benefited the most from him suffering. So just know suffering is not a superpower. Like, you're only making it worse. Choose to evade situations that are over. It's just healthy to have those conversations. And they hurt and they're uncomfortable, but it's better that you waste time whenever you stay somewhere that you know is redundant to your future. So, I know this was a lengthy podcast, and it was it's definitely longer than I planned to go for the most part, but definitely just wanted to drill this home, and just kind of put emphasis that things happen in our life, people happen in our life, people leave, and things change. You have to understand that staying with someone and forcing it to be right for you is only going to cause you to compromise and to suffer. So, without further ado, I just want to end the podcast on a positive note. I love y'all. Thank y'all for supporting. If y'all listen all the way through, I really rock with you. I hope y'all know on YouTube, it tells me the click-through rate and the average view duration. So don't tell me, oh yeah, I heard the podcast. And I'm like, man, the average say you listen to it for like 15 minutes and blah, blah, blah. Like, just know I got all the stats so I can see if y'all really listening or not or whatever. So, with that being said, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Rap or Cap Podcast, RAPORCAP Podcast. Subscribe, like, drop some comments. Let me know if I'm rapping or capping. I'm your host, Mike the Young OG. That's THE, not DA. We are literate black excellence. Y'all feel me? Hit me on Instagram, Rapper Cap Podcast, or Mike the Young OG on Instagram. Twitter page, Rapper Cap Podcast. Y'all know the vibes. Holla at your boy. Peace out.